Crumbling or Awakening. In our men's Bible study, we're studying a book about the different stages of a man's life. And what I'm learning applies to you as well, especially if you thought about writing a book. See, what we go through, we can respond to. It's the basic E plus R equals O. The event plus the response equals the outcome. So when you think about something that you've been through or that you're going through, that's just the event. What's the response to the event? In the book that we're going through, he talks about how midlife can be a crumbling or midlife can be an awakening. The authors that I get to work with often talk about a hard story, something that really knocked him over. It like literally, we have an author who's writing about the suicide of her son. These are really hard topics. We have an author who's writing about infidelity. We have authors that have written about racial reconciliation, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, just really tough topics. And what I've noticed about our authors is that they get to make a choice. And you get to make a choice. You get to choose, will this challenge I'm going through, this crisis I'm going through, this difficulty I'm going through, will it become the beginning of an awakening or the beginning of a crumbling? It's so interesting. We recently had some storm surges in North Carolina and on the Outer Banks. And I just saw a video yesterday of a really nice house. I think it was in Topsail. So it was like right on the water in North Carolina. And it was on like stilts, like one of these multi-million-dollar houses right on the beach. And because of the storm surge, it had just been enough to knock over the stilts and the whole house slowly came crumbling down. And I just looked at that of what are the stilts that we built our life on? For some guys in my life right now, in their mid 40s, early 50s, they've lost their job in the last 6 to 12 months. And that can feel like the stilts are knocked out from under your house. And the question then is this going to be an awakening or is this going to be a crumbling? I know that a health concern could be a big part, especially in your midlife. There are several people in my life that are going through a health concern, and it's not the big one. It's just something small, but it's enough that it just niggles at you. It just irritates just under the surface, whether it's a leg issue, a back issue, a neck issue, a migraine issue. These things can crumble us or awaken us. The same is true in relationships. The inevitable disappointment of a relationship, the misalignment, the missed expectations, the dropped responsibilities, communication, these lead to awakenings or crumblings. And the question is, which one will you choose? I believe that you have a choice. So number one, if it is a crumble, then the solution, the answer is a more solid foundation. If your foundation crumbles under you, you didn't build it on a solid foundation. And so that crumbling is an awakening. It's an awakening to the fact that you need to build your life on something more solid, your hope and trust on something more solid. I continue to learn to let go and to trust the Lord in his perfect timing. It's funny. I was thinking a lot about my dependency on finances as opposed to my dependency on the Lord to provide finances, and the slight difference between the two. I'm not dependent on money. I'm dependent on the Lord, who is Jehovah Jireh, the great provider. I am dependent on the Lord to lead me and guide me towards the people that sign up for what we offer at our company. There was a direct correlation between my income and the growth and the success of the company. But my hope and my trust and my faith is not in the people, not in the money, but in the Lord and his leading and his guidance. And I think about being a father. I recently took a trip with my 10-year-old son. She's a solo daddy-son trip. And there's a dependence there. I didn't give him a backpack with all of his food for the whole weekend and say, here you go. All your food is provided for. You don't have to worry. You don't have to depend on me anymore. You have everything you need. Instead, I didn't give him a backpack of food and say, here you go. All your food is here for 3 days. No more reliance on me. You can depend on yourself. Here's everything that you need. Instead, I paid progressively. We would go to a restaurant. I would pay at the restaurant. We would go to the grocery store. I'd pay at the grocery store. I'd go to the gas station, get a snack, and I'd pay there. And there's a continuous dependence that my 10-year-old son has on me as his earthly father. How much more can we continually depend on our heavenly Father who gives good gifts? And there's this relationship, there's this closeness, there's this, Daddy, can I? Daddy, can I get that? Daddy, can I order that? Daddy, can we go there? And I just think about the crisis that maybe you're going through right now or that you've recently been through. And as you look at it and you consider, is this an awakening or is this a crumbling? What if you look at it as an opportunity for more dependence on the Lord to say, Daddy, can we do that? How are you working, Lord? How are you working in my life right now? What is it that you're teaching me through this difficult situation? What is it that you want me to know? How can I more further rely on you and your goodness and your grace in this situation? And it actually is that situation that is the awakening that opens our eyes to the things that are not of this world, to a peace that passes all understanding. One of my favorite business coaches, he has this quote that I've just listened to many times, and he talks about, what would it take if you were to fashion someone, if you were to create someone who's a strong leader, a real leader in their industry, somebody who is really well positioned to take some ground and to lead people well? How would you prepare them? Would you give them everything that they need, give them a real cushy life? Or would you have a series of trials that you would want them to work through so that they build the strength, so that they build the dependence, so that they build the muscles? Of course, you would want to set challenges in front of this person so that they grow. And I really believe that's why we face trials of many kinds. James talks about count it joy when we face trials of many kinds, because we know that trial will lead to perseverance. And that perseverance will grow into fruit of faithfulness, into fruit of endurance, and ultimately into fruit of leadership, that one day we'll look back when we're in our 60s, 70s, 80s, and we'll have these amazing stories of how God used even the most difficult circumstances, especially the most difficult circumstances in our life, to awaken our love to Him, to awaken our dependence on Him, instead of as a crumbling. So I hope that encourages you today. Here's what that means for you if you're thinking about writing. If you're thinking about writing a book, look back on what you've been through and know that the hardest things that you've faced, the hardest things that you've been through, are not wasted when you share them with someone else. I tell our authors this all the time. What you've been through isn't wasted when you share it with somebody else. When you can say in your book, on your blog, in your Substack, on your social media, I know what it's like. I've been there too, and I lived through it. Then someone who's currently going through it right now can have faith that they can make it too. It's not wasted. What you've been through isn't wasted when you share it with somebody else. So perhaps the Mordecai question, perhaps, maybe, the reason you went through the thing that you've been through is so that you could share it with others, to let them know that they are not alone, to let them know that God is still moving and working in their lives, to let them know that their story's not over, to let them know that there's still hope. There's still hope. I hope that encourages you today.